Cool. So welcome everybody. This is class number 4 in our Applied Metaphysics for Goal Setting. I hope all is well with you. What I'd like to do, do we remember who volunteered to say prayer tonight, or no? Do we know? Does anybody remember? Going once, going twice? All right. Then I'm just going to take a moment and just say a prayer. I'm just going to ask you if you can just become still. And I always love to start this process off with a couple of breaths, and I use the 4-7-8 breath work method that you can look up online, but we're going to inhale deeply for 4 seconds, we're going to hold it for 7, and then we're going to exhale through pierced lips for a count of 8, and we're going to do that 3 or 4 times. And I just like what that does to me. It just relaxes my entire nervous system when I do that. So if you care to join us, I will lead us through it. Again, it's 4, a deep inhale for 4, count of 4, then we hold for a count of 7, and then we exhale through pierced lips for a count of 8. So on your mark, get set, let's go. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale through pierced lips. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now just return to regular breathing. And just feel what taking a couple of breaths can do for you. It just literally resets and relaxes your entire nervous system. And after you do this for a while, you'll really like it. Because it puts you into that state. It gets you close to an alpha state, which is where you want to get, only it can wind up taking 10 or 15 or 20 minutes to get there. That's another reason why I like to do it. And so while we're in this state, I just want to say, welcome, Spirit. Welcome to this time together. And thank you for your wisdom and your guidance and your insights. As we come together as this group, as this collective, and we open ourselves up to understanding, to insights, to awarenesses about this idea of goal setting and using metaphysics to do that, and deepening our own awareness of ourselves and our connection to ourselves, and our also our connectiveness to Spirit. And so we just say thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you for blessing our time together. And we also call forth in any of the angels or the helpers of the light to assist us in our journey this evening. And with that, we say thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. Amen. All right, so what I'd like to do is just go around and ask everybody, just do a quick check-in. How are you doing? We've covered, this is week 4, so we've gone through quite a bit. And I was just curious, just how you're doing. How's the process going for you? Is this helping you? Is it confusing you? Is it making a lot of sense? Is it making no sense? So we're not looking for, you know, a half-hour check-in, maybe a couple of minutes for each one, or just do whatever you feel like doing. But I'd like to check in. So I'm just going to look and grab the first person that I see, which happens to be Joy. So Joy.
Hi, everybody. So I wasn't able to connect last week in person, but I did listen to the video, and I enjoyed listening to that. And I guess, yeah, to answer your question, does it make sense? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me, and it resonates with actually the spirit group that I led a couple years ago when we, I don't know, if, Michael, if you remember that book, I think it was called Choose Again,
Yeah.
where that's kind of similar to what you're talking about. It's like we don't have to operate the way that we kind of were just programmed when we were children, and to kind of recognize that. And often it's, you need to recognize that when you're kind of in a high emotional state,
Hmm.
and that you can choose to, you know, be different, not react, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So yeah, so that, you know, it takes practice, because
Hmm.
as you mentioned, those neural pathways are just so deeply embedded,
Yeah.
but it takes practice, and um, it does, it is effective if you can just remind yourself to do it over and over and over, and kind of choose again, and just get out of, you know, certain habits or recognize triggers
Yeah.
of where it can adversely affect us. So yeah, it's making sense, and um, it's all it's all clicking, and hopefully it'll continue to help with different things where I'm stuck. So thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you. Awesome. I'm just gonna start grabbing people. So the next person I see is Rose. How are you? It's good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, Michael. It's good to see you as well.
Yeah.
Um, so I think for me, the process, I'm getting more into self-awareness now. Just starting with doing the work and kind of figuring that out. And now I'm finding a lot more self-awareness. And I really like how you tie the goals and manifesting and the high vibration. That's the one that I'm really working on. And it's really tough. It really does require a lot of self-awareness with the thought process and where your emotions are.
Mhm.
And I just, one of my self-awareness moments, sometimes I get out of bed and just have this icky feeling. And I just now have learned to put the vibe out there and ask the question, like, okay, what's going on here? Oh, you don't want to go to work. Okay, well, just putting out a vibe and realizing that it's not like I'm communicating with another human being and in 2 seconds I'm going to get that answer. I know now I can just put it out there to the universe, and at some point it comes to me, whether it's synchronicities, coincidences, or a feeling, or just whatever. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now with all my work.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here and thank you for sharing. That's amazing. It sounds really, really good. Cool. Awesome. Erica, you're up.
Um, oh, why is that echo?
There's a delay between.
Okay, sorry, there's such an echo. I can hear across the person who's sitting across from me. I wasn't able to be here last week, and I did not watch the video yet, but I will. I had bad news last week, so um, it's been a lot of trying to be conscious of my thoughts and not getting into a pit of despair, and so it's very interesting to have to like keep catching yourself, because you can really go to a dark place. And so that's what I've just been focusing on for the past week, is trying to like pull myself out of it and forcing myself to do things like come here when I didn't want to. But I told John that I was going to, so I'm here. And so I'm just looking forward to learning more things.
There you go. Awesome. Well, we're glad you're here and I hope it helps. And I usually find that even just being around people that are trying to do their own work, if you will, and are focusing on getting better can be helpful sometimes. So I hope that's the case for you tonight. Cool. Let's do Karina.
Okay, yeah, mute. Yeah, we have a lot of echo in here, so
I would suggest maybe everybody except you turn your microphones off for right now.
There.
Oh,
you got it?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm still I'm still trying to figure out because I used to be a super manifester and apparently I don't know, there's a personality profile that you'd have to take and I'm just like the projector manifester or something, but I know I did manifest so much in my life. I mean, it's just been the last few years, it's been not as it I used to be, and I just trying to see where the block is, and or I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I went to bingo this summer, and everybody else was winning, and I was sitting there. I was like, okay, so I knew the next game I was going to win, and I just asked the lady for a specific card, and she's like, okay, you can have that color. So I got the color that was in our neighborhood, and then I actually won. My son joined the next game, and then I kind of knew he was going to win, and he won the game. So it's like, ugh, I won 2 games in a row. So I know it's possible, you know. I just maybe the class will help me to see where my blockage is. So.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I really appreciate you sharing and being vulnerable like that, Karina. And I hope so too. I mean, because part of this, as somebody who has struggled with goal setting and achieving goals and manifesting, if you will, there was definitely a time in my life where there was a lot of blocks. And my hope is during the course of the entire course as we go through it, that there will be awarenesses and insights as to what's going on here. Again, if we go back to the very first class, we talked about the tools for creation, which is our thoughts, our words, and our actions. And almost every single time, if we really go back in, and that's why I wanted to start there, is to have you just slowly start looking at those 3 areas and say, okay, well, are any of those out of alignment with what I'm trying to achieve? And so we've gone deeper, and each class has gone a little bit deeper, and we're going to go deeper even further today. So I just want to encourage you, be patient. And my hope is that there's going to be more we're going to be talking about tonight, and we still have 4 classes. So there's going to be lots of opportunities to go deeper and further. And then who knows? Like I said, I got a feeling, a hunch, I'm going to be doing something after the first of the year, kind of like a bigger event, maybe a 1-day event around goal setting for the year, something like that. So anyways, thank you for being here again. It's good to see you. And yeah, patience and patience and self-compassion and self-love, right? So
Right.
awesome. John.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you. A lot of this material I've been familiar with for a long time. Well, not a long time, but for the last year and a half. And, but yeah, that's why I'm here is a lot like Katrina. I've got a couple blockages I need to release, and I'm hoping that this class does that. And so far, I've had a couple hits, so it has already been somewhat successful. I had more to say, but I completely lost my train of thought. So evidently I wasn't supposed to say it, and I won't try.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here, John. As always, it's good to see you. I love your energy. I love your enthusiasm. And I love your passion for your own awakening is really, really beautiful to see. So I just want to fully acknowledge that. Janice, you're back. It's okay. You don't have to be on the screen. You can still talk. So how are you, and how is the course going for you so far?
Hi, apparently I'm a ghost tonight.
Well, there you
because
go. Yay.
I'm here, but the screen's black. I know I should change this 2012 computer in one of these days, but you know, it's just working well, so well. Um, it's I'm a which Michael knows, I'm a long hauler from COVID of 20 months now, and almost everything's come back except for my mind, which going through this stuff before all of this happened to me, I would consider myself a master manifester.
Mhm.
And then when I got so sick, I was like, well, I can't, what's left to, except for my health. And so that's pretty much what I'm now focusing on is, you know, is bringing all those things back to get my body to line back up and communicate correctly and get its strength back. And 19 months in a recliner is not good for muscles. But that part's going okay. It's just being reminded. I probably have 500 books in my library of
Mhm.
all of this about the manifesting and you know about just the spiritual stuff, and reading is a problem. That's another side effect from the long haul COVID. Words are blurry, so I listen to things on tape now.
Mhm.
But just having this group and having like-minded people and knowing I'm not the only weird one out here, feels good.
That's great.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
there's a lot of if it's being weird, I would say welcome to the club. I think a lot of us are weirdos, right?
Thank you.
But the good news is you're in good company. You're in good company.
Amen.
Yeah, amen.
I'm the king of weirdos.
I agree. Awesome. I'm not sure who Dad is, but Dad, if you would like to let us know how you are doing in the course, it would be great to hear from you.
Can you hear me?
We can. Oh, it's Scott. Hey, buddy.
That's so funny, Dad. That's just how my daughter set up my phone, because obviously she knows more about technology than me. Maybe I should make that a goal.
Yeah.
So I love the course. I love getting together. I look forward to seeing everybody. Unfortunately, today I'm in a car driving, so the only person I see right now is my beloved friend Michael. But yeah, so I'm enjoying our time together. I'm enjoying being very specific about goal setting. Now, I'm not looking for grandiose, greater enlightenment, because that's part of it always. I'm not looking for major healing. I'm just looking for some very basic stuff, and looking forward to continuing through with this all the way until November, and seeing what manifests.
Yeah, how fun.
So enjoying my time.
Awesome, buddy. Well, it's great to hear your voice again and looking forward to seeing you soon. So anyways, be safe while you're on the road. So awesome. Well, good. So everybody's checked in. That's great. What I'm going to do is I want to do a little bit of a review. So let me do a screen share. Do this, do that. Oh, don't do that. Hold on. This thing is really acting funny. So hold on just a second, folks. Okay, let me try that again. Let me go here. Let me go screen share. Okay. Share sound, yes, but also, hold on. Mouse. Okay, so let's see if this actually works this time. Oh, that is so funny. Okay, so hold on, give me just a second. Okay, guys, where are you? All right, be patient with me, folks. unfortunately, the computer is doing what the computer is doing. Okay, so I'm going to let go. So go grab this and come over here, and now go from there and then see what happens. Okay, so here's the question for you. Are you seeing the one slide? Is that what you're seeing? Can everybody see the one slide? One. Okay, so you see, all right. So if I click on that, you can see the slide. Rose, I can see you perfectly. Just give me a thumbs up. Can you just see the thing? It says review. Yeah, okay, so it says review. All right, so cool. So, all right. So last week, again, I just want to do a review. We actually talked about this idea. We came up with this, how to change our thoughts, this new belief formula. And what we talked about was creating a new affirmation regarding your new goals. So we had you do that. And then what we had you do is identify your current thoughts and feelings about your new goal affirmation. So if you remember right, I gave the example of me making $1 million and me going like, yeah, like that's ever going to happen, right? Or a series of different comments that I made to myself about, yeah, like that's going to actually happen. And then what we had you do, if you remember, is we had you identify any limited beliefs around your new goal statement. So all of those limited beliefs, and we went through this in detail on the last call. That's what we did. So what did we do? Again, how does this work? We set a goal, we create a new affirmation, and then we kind of sit with it for a little bit. And we see, well, how does that new goal statement feel? And we identified any limited beliefs we have around this new goal statement. So for me, and again, I'm using an affirmation that I did when I was 19 years old, about me being a millionaire. I was like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I'm not worthy. And there was like 8 or 9 different limited beliefs I had around me achieving my new goal. And then what we did was for every limited belief that I had, I went through and I created a denial and an affirmation statement. So that's what I did. That's what we did on the call last week. And then after we found all the limited beliefs I had around this particular thing and we created this denial and the affirmation, then we talked about creating a daily plan to embody the new affirmation. And why is it that we need a daily plan? Why do we need to be doing this stuff on a daily basis? Anybody can answer. Just unmute yourself and say it. Hello? Anybody there? Can't hear you, John.
Why do we
Is he-
have to keep repeating that affirmations and denials?
Well, yeah, because you're trying to create a tract in your mind, and that requires repetition to create the track in your mind over and over and over and over again.
Bingo, 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, we're trying to create a new neural pathway, and the only way that we can create a neural pathway, at least using this technique, is by saying our affirmations and our denials over and over and over again. And that's why statement number 6, repeat your denials and affirmations on a consistent basis daily and over time. And remember, the old idea of doing anything for 21 days is not accurate. They've now proven that it takes 63 days is what creates the new neural pathway and your new belief, okay? Having said that, I just want to go over the last 4 classes, what we have done. And that is we have created our own little goal setting process. And we are going to continue to add to this goal setting process. But so far, what is the goal setting process that we are using? Number 1, identify the goal. Number 2, visualize it. Remember, that was using the intentional meditation I shared with you on the first night we were together. Number 3, create an affirmation. Number 4, identify any limited beliefs that you have about that particular goal. or number 4. Number 5, create a denial and affirmation for any of the limited beliefs that you have. And then finally, create a daily plan to practice your affirmations and your denials. So I'm going to stop share for a minute and just talk about that. Now, I would really like to hear how it's going identifying your limited beliefs regarding your goal setting statement. Was that easy? Was that hard? Did you not really do it? And it's okay if you didn't, but I'm really, because here's the thing, okay? Here's the deal. If you cannot identify what your limited beliefs are, you are going to have, like, number 1, can you not have any limited beliefs around a goal? Yes, you can. Yeah, you can show up and be clean, but I'm telling you right now, it is extremely rare that you don't have any limited beliefs around a goal that you're trying to achieve. It almost never happens. And so when you set a goal for yourself, more than likely when you write that new goal statement or that new affirmation, I'm going to be a millionaire, or I am a millionaire. Remember, there's no time. So I am a millionaire, right? When you start saying that new goal statement, if you're doing it legitimately, more than likely you're going to have some limited beliefs showing up. So I just wanted to spend a minute or two in here to see how that's going for you, because if people are struggling with that, I might have another little tool that can help you really, really figure them out. Yes, John.
Okay, so my question is, do you have to identify the limited belief, or if you set a positive affirmation and use that, will that disassemble the limited belief without actually identifying the limited belief? Let me give you an example, because that sounds confusing as I say it. I have a goal of selling 100,000 books that I published. With the affirmation that I am so happy and grateful, I have sold 100,000 books now. Would an affirmation like that take out any self-limiting beliefs I may have that I'm unaware of?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. And I'm going to say that as long as you can do it cleanly, you're fine. My own personal experience is, though, I couldn't do it cleanly. So if you can just glob onto an affirmation and say it and be clear on it, like, no, this is what I'm doing, then just keep doing that, right? But my cautionary tale in my own experience has been those limited beliefs were really loud, like really, really loud. And it took me a while to calm them down. And the only way I could calm them down was by addressing them directly. So one approach is, I'm not going to do anything about the limited beliefs. I'm going to be really clear about what my new goal is, and I'm just going to go for it. And that's fine. If you can do it and that works for you, go for it. It didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. And so I needed to go back in and go, okay, what's going on between here? What are the thoughts beneath the thoughts? And this is where I find a lot of people don't go. They basically, they don't go and identify what the thoughts beneath the thoughts are.
Who wants a knuckle sandwich,
so, so there's the answer. So I think it's something you just have to play with in terms of what's working for you. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you no, because I know people that have done exactly that and have manifested amazing things in your life. And I know people it hasn't worked for. So I'm not going to say there's one hard set rule. Okay.
Mike, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
When you say your denials and affirmations, can you please define denials? I must have missed that part.
Yeah. So that was last week. And so I'm going to encourage you to go listen to that if you can't read it. But a denial is basically when you are telling yourself that you can't do something. it's kind of like you've got this thought in your mind that's being a bully, and you need to stand up to the bully. That's the way I explained it last week.
Okay.
So that's called the denial. And all you're doing is saying whatever the situation is, and we went over and talked about a master denial. And a master denial is saying whatever the situation is. So for example, let's say that you are working on getting healthy. And
Yes.
let's say that you're going, I don't know if I'm ever going to get healthy, or I've been sick for 19 months, so I can't, I'm never going to get healthy again. There comes a point where it's necessary for you to step up and basically confront the bully. You got to stand up to the bully and say, no more. We're not doing that. It's almost like homie don't play that game. For all of you old, what was that show where it was Homie the Clown? Remember that? And
Yeah.
he would say, hey, homie don't play that game. So a denial is where you stand up to it and you say, no matter what, because of who and what I am, this thing, this COVID long form can't keep my good from me. That's a denial. So you start off with that, especially if there's an emotional charge to it. And this kind of goes hand in hand with what John was saying earlier. If I just say, I am thankful and grateful that I've sold 100,000 books now, if you can do that and do it without having this emotional reaction to it, especially a super negative emotional reaction, then you keep saying it. But if you're in the back of your mind, you're going, oh, hell no, this thing is never going to happen because of A, B, C, D, and E, you need to address it. And the way you address it is you start off with a denial. And you say, this thing isn't going to keep me, whatever it is, this isn't going to keep me from my good. This isn't going to keep me from my good. And
So when you're talking about physical pain though,
right.
I mean, and
I'm not saying deny the physical pain. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying, what you're doing in this process, using this process, is you are saying this physical pain is not going to keep me from whatever you want your goal to be. If your goal is to start feeling better, which I'm assuming it's some version of that, then you would say this current situation where I'm at right now, this pain that I'm having is not going to keep me from my good. This is not going to keep me from my good. It's not.
Okay.
And so again, it's like, I always feel it's like you're standing up to the bully. That's what I feel like you're doing with a denial.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah,
a
like
quick
I
comment
said,
on that?
I would go back in and re-watch or listen, Janice, because I know you said it's hard for you to read stuff. Just go and then listen to last week's recording. Yeah, Scott, you were saying?
Okay.
I think that sometimes, especially when you're dealing with physical challenges or goals to overcome physical, that denials can be easier than affirmations. Like if I'm facing the pain, I can go, hell no. This pain is not taking over me. It's not to challenge it. Where the affirmation, where you say, I am free of pain, I am healthy, wealthy, and wise, that's tough when you're feeling the pain.
Sure.
That's tough to affirm. So, and then the other thing I wanted to say is that if you're looking at a goal and there's nothing that you can't come up with something that might be blocking it, I want to be like you. I want to acknowledge the fact that it could be clean, but there's probably something deep, and there just needs to be more work done. And I'm not telling John that, I'm telling myself that there needs to be like some more deep work that I need to do to find something that's kind of hidden.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to see how this process, because listen, the reality is what we did last week, in my opinion, is honestly the nuts and bolts of what most people don't do. They don't. They'll set a goal all day long, and then they'll sit there like I did and repeat the affirmation 4,000 times. And in the back of my mind, every time I said it, I kept telling myself, bullshit, 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 excuse my language. And so you can't say an affirmation and have that limited belief firing in the back of your mind and think that anything is going to change, because it's not. It's not. And so I'm just saying that this is what it comes down to. And so each of us have our own little way, our own little nuances of doing this. And it can look a little bit differently for each one of us. And I would say when you start doing this work, eventually you'll figure it out to where it makes sense for you. So I'm gonna, yes, Karina.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something to sickness or to anything. Before you can manifest or before you do anything, you have to first accept. Because with any disease or anything you run into, from my experience on these many years on this earth, is whenever you accepted something, it went away.
Mhm.
So if you, it's just like you, even if you go against, like when somebody is constantly talking about their pain or talking about their cough or talk about their disease, you're keeping that in there. It's like it's a sort of an acceptance. Okay, I live with this now, and you know that acceptance can dissolve that because you don't focus your mind too much on it. So I just wanted to add that if you accept it first, then it can dissolve.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about acceptance in the next class or two, but you're 100% correct, because I think one of the first things you need to do is look at what's really happening and make peace with that, right? So it's making peace with what is, not denying it, not anything, just going, oh, this is what's going on. Oh, okay. And then, all right, let's go from there. And understand, because that nothing is a death sentence, if you will. So in other words, just because something is what it is today doesn't mean that it can't change. And that's really what it comes down to. But I think the first step in that process is accepting what is, and I would agree with you. Yeah, John.
I'm in agreement with all of you, but we can't go into great depth on healing illness in this class. I would recommend a book by David R. Hawkins, and it's called Healing and Recovery, and it takes what we've been talking about and goes into a really deep conversation about that. So anybody dealing with physical illness, I highly recommend that book.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of great books out there about healing, whole bunches, all kinds. One of these days, I might do a class called Applied Metaphysics for Healing. Thought about that one too. So anyways, okay, cool. So again, I'm going to add anybody else in terms of having a hard time identifying what their limited beliefs are. Is anybody else, how is it going for you? Have you been able to identify what your limited beliefs are as a general rule of thumb?
Mike, I feel like I can, this is Rose.
Yeah.
I feel like I can identify the limiting beliefs. I still really have a hard time with the action of getting over, like, where do I start? Nobody is interested. I don't know how. And so I'm feeling like when you combine the thought, feeling, and action, the affirmations and the denial part, it takes care of the like thoughts, and then the self-awareness for the emotions. But
Yeah.
for me, it's really hard to do the action part, to figure out the action. And maybe that's part of that limiting belief is, I don't know how, because, okay, so my goal, sign 5 paying clients each month. Okay. So
Yeah.
in order to do that, it's the whole networking thing that I get wrapped up on. And it's just really, that action part has just been really hard, because I feel like I'm sticking my toe in the water a little bit, not getting anywhere. So then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I need to stick my toe in a different pool, and like hopping around. And it's just that action part, maybe I'm not putting myself out there enough. And so there's just not enough action going on, kind of a thing.
Yeah, so
That's-
so great question. We're going to be diving into the action part of this probably on our next call. And what I'm hearing is, the thing that I would probably be curious about is, have we really flushed out the thoughts? Have we really found out what's really going on underneath the thoughts in terms of, are they really in alignment? In other words, are your thoughts and your words really in alignment with what it is that you're trying to accomplish? And see if there's any discrepancy in that, because thoughts are thoughts. And if there are old neural pathways or old thought patterns around doing this. If those are not addressed, then it's going to be difficult for you to want to take the action, is what I would say. So without spending a half hour going and coaching you at this moment, then I would probably start there. Like, are your thoughts really in alignment with what it is that you're trying to accomplish? You know, and find out, and being, again, honest, and we don't do shame, blame, judgment, or guilt here, but just sitting down with yourself and journaling, are my thoughts about me doing this, are they really in alignment with what I'm trying to accomplish? And if they are, then great. But if they're not, and even with what you said, Rose, I heard a thing or two to me that sounds a little bit out of alignment with what you're trying to accomplish, right? So I would just get quiet. I would get a journal, and I would sit there and be asking myself questions like, are my thoughts really in alignment with doing this? Fully in alignment? Is everything I'm doing in alignment with it? And I think, based on what we're going to cover in today's call, that it'll be helpful as well. Okay?
Okay.
So those
Thank
two
you.
things. And if we need to, you and I can get on a quick phone call and have a chat, okay?
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay, so I'm not hearing anybody saying they have any difficulties figuring out what their limited beliefs are, other than Scott saying he thinks that there may be more. So I'm going to share with you, this is a little bonus, and I don't have any slides or anything for it, but I'm going to share with you, I'm kind of curious. You guys, it's hard for me to see because I got a couple screens going on. You guys, the only thing you're seeing is me right now, right? You're not seeing any slides, correct? Yeah, okay, thanks, Joy. All right, so I'm going to share with you a technique that can be extremely helpful for identifying your limited beliefs around a particular topic. And it's very simple, but don't let the simplicity of it trick you into believing this can't possibly work, because it'll work if you do it, okay? So what am I talking about? I'm talking about something called sentence stems. They're called sentence stems. Sentence, S-E-N-T-E-N-C-E, stems, S-T-E-M-S, sentence stems. How do sentence stems work? So here's what you do. You will make a statement that sounds something like this to yourself. You're going to say, I can't have, I can't do, I can't manifest whatever it is you're trying to do because ... Okay? So you literally write that down. I can't have it, I can't do it, I can't manifest it because, and then here's what you're going to do. You are going to basically sit down, you're going to get quiet, and we're going to do this in a minute, so I'm going to let you do this. And you are going to rapid fire without thinking, and you're going to come up with 10 different reasons why you can't have it, you can't do it, you can't manifest it. So here's what I want you to do. For those of you, Scott, you can't do this, you're driving, so don't even think about it. The rest of you, I want you to write down your statement. The reason I can't, the reason I can't have it, the reason I can't do it, the reason I can't manifest this thing is, and I want you to write that at the top of your page. So go ahead and write that down. The reason I can't have it, the reason I can't do it, the reason I can't manifest it is, and just write that down at the top of your page. Now I'll give you another about 60 seconds, and then we're going to go through this one time, just so that you get a feel for it. Okay? So again, at the top of the page, I can't have it, I can't do it, I can't manifest this thing because, all right. So you got that at the top of your page, okay? Now, here's what we're gonna do. I want you just to kind of sit back for just a half second, maybe take a deep breath in. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start repeating this thing to you generically. You can get specific based on what you wrote. But what I want you to do is I just want you to repeat this thing over and over and over again. And just write whatever comes to your head. Don't even think about it. Just write, write, write. Okay? So we're going to go through this one time and we're going to say it 10 times. And I don't care if you even repeat the same answer, it doesn't matter. All right, so here we go. Number one, the reason you can't have, do, or manifest this thing is because, write. Don't think, just write it down. Whatever's in your mind, just write it down. Okay? Say it again. The reason you can't have it, the reason you can't do it, the reason you can't manifest it is because, write it down. Okay? One more time. The reason you can't have this thing, the reason you can't do this thing, the reason you can't manifest this thing is because, write it down. All right? One more time. The reason I can't have this thing, the reason I can't do this thing, the reason I can't manifest this thing is because, write it down. I don't care if it's the same thing you just wrote. Write it down. And just for the sake of the example and the sake of time, we're going to have you do it one more time. The reason I can't have this thing, the reason I can't do this thing, the reason I can't manifest this thing is because, write it down. All right. So, I'll take one or two people. What were your observations about doing sentence stems? What happened? Yeah, go ahead, John. You're on mute. I can't hear you.
There we go. Okay, so I wrote down 4 lines, and each one of them starts with lack. Does anybody else see a problem with that?
No, not at all. Awesome. That's awesome. That's why sentence stems are so freaking powerful. That's awesome, John. Thank you. Anybody else just want to make a quick comment? Joy, are you doing something? Did you want to say something or no?
I can read my list.
Okay, I don't know who just said that, but sure, go ahead.
Janice,
Oh, go ahead, Janice. Yeah, go ahead.
I can't do my life because I'm sick, financial stress, disease, no family support. I feel weak, lost my drive, lost my ambition. My brain has changed, weak, fear, confused, brain fog, pain.
Got it. Good, good. Not good that that's happening, just good now you're starting to identify it.
Yes.
All right, so let me just share a couple of final comments about sentence stems. So here's what I normally do with my clients is I will run through it 10 times with them. And then what I'll do is I will have them in order. I will have them go through and on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest emotional charge, 1 being the lowest emotional charge. And what I'll do is I'll just have them rate each one of whatever they wrote. And what'll happen is you will find normally that there will be 1 or 2 that are at a 10. or really high up there. In other words, when they wrote that thing down, there was like bing, 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 pay attention. That's where the work needs to be done. That's where we start. If you will do sentence stems, if you're struggling finding out what the true issue is, if you will do this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and you're going to say, well, Mike, that doesn't make any sense. Why should I keep doing it? Because you need to really flush it out. And if you do it a handful of times, you will eventually get to the point to where you really have a good understanding of what's going on in there, and you can really flush out your limited beliefs. So sentence stems is a way to go. I use it all the time with my coaching clients in my own personal business. Rose, I couldn't do this with you because that's not in David's program. Sorry. So anyways, sentence stems are amazing. Okay. They will definitely help you find out what your limited beliefs are. Then what you do is once you've got them all, then go through and grade each one that you wrote 1 through 10. The ones that are 10, 9s, or 8, you better be flushing those things out because there's normally an emotional charge with them. If there's an emotional charge, that emotional charge needs to be dealt with. And it's powerful, powerful, powerful work to do sentence stems. All right.
What do you mean flush them out? Like
you need to
nothing
address
that will-
them. You can't just have these emotional feelings of whatever it is. If it's like this is a 10 out of 10 and you're not addressing them emotionally, you're not going to clear that stuff out and it's going to cause a problem. So there's got to be a way for those emotions to be resolved. That's what I'm saying. And if you don't have a way to do that, I'm not sure how far I'm going to be able to go in that tonight. Janice, maybe you and I can have another little conversation about that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I just can't. I've got to move forward with the class and what I got to teach tonight because I really want to get
It's
into
just
that.
so much physical that, yeah, it's hard to, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, so, again, there's a lot of different ways that we could handle it, but here's the thing. If there's a lot of emotional pain that's going on, it still has to, from the emotional standpoint, we still have to at least get to the point to where the emotions that are around it are at least, let's pull those babies down just a little bit and talk about that. So we'll have a further conversation about that, but for right now, I wanna move on with the teaching for the evening, okay? All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to share our screen again, and then let that thing do what it's gonna do. Okay, so I'm assuming that you can see the one screen. Yes, we've got one screen up. Thumbs up. Can somebody give me a thumbs up? Rose, can you see one screen? Thank you, dear. All right, I'm going to go back to the behavior loop that we've been talking about with our early perceptions that causes our thoughts. We've been spending a lot of time on our thoughts and our words, but we really haven't talked about our emotions. And I want to spend the next 30 minutes of the class talking about emotions because emotions play a huge part of this process. And so we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about them. Here's what I feel. I feel like our emotions are the language of our soul. I said this at one of my talks a couple of weeks ago, and I meant it. Our emotions are the language of our soul. They're our soul's way of letting us know what's going on internally. And that's why it's so, so important that we pay attention to what our emotions are trying to say to us. A couple of things about our emotions. The quality of your emotional state will determine the quality of your life. For every thought you have, there is a corresponding emotion and or feeling. And I use emotion and feeling intermittent. I mean, I exchange them back and forth. So that's why I put them up there. If you want to know what you're thinking, pay attention to your emotions and feelings. Pay attention. Thoughts without feeling carry very little energy to them and therefore tend to be ineffective. And I could have typed in the next line that said thoughts with a lot of feelings carry a lot of energy to them and therefore tend to be very effective. In fact, I should add that line in there. Adding powerful emotions or feelings to your affirmations or visualizations is like adding rocket fuel to them. So emotions are a big, big, big deal. And having said that, I want to start talking about emotional awareness and intelligence, and why is that so important? Why should we be aware of what's going on with our emotions? Emotional awareness means knowing when feelings are present in ourselves and others. It's closely related to emotional literacy, which means being able to label feelings with specific feeling words. At its highest level, it means being able to predict feelings in advance. That's what emotional awareness is. Okay? Having said that, I want to talk about emotional awareness and intelligence. Your emotional awareness is critical to this work, absolutely imperative. Emotional awareness is a skill set that can be developed. The reason I put that up there is because, in truth, I didn't have a lot of emotional awareness and intelligence as a child. I learned how to shut them off, and therefore I didn't really have an emotional awareness or intelligence skill set. It was very, very, very low. And it's just like any other skill set, you can learn to develop your emotional awareness and intelligence. If this skill set was not developed when you were young, your ability to feel and express your emotions will be limited. Case in point, you're looking at a case in point. Okay? I want to spend a few moments just talking about the 5 levels of emotional awareness. So here are the 5 levels of emotional awareness. Level number 1, are you able to identify a physical sensation in your body when you have an emotion? Because every single time you have a thought, it's going to produce some type of a sensation in your body. Can you feel that? And I would even say not only identify the physical sensation in your body, but I would even add to that and say where in your body. So often when I'm coaching people in my own practice, I would say, what are you feeling and where are you feeling it? That would be a level 1 on the emotional awareness scale. Can you name the emotion? And it's okay at first if it's just good or bad. In other words, if all you got is, well, it doesn't feel good, it's okay. We're going to talk about that though. Emotional intelligence is where you can actually really pinpoint the emotion. So that's level 2 would be you can at least name the emotion. Great. The next thing in terms of emotional awareness or intelligence is identify what your action tendency based off of that emotion is. In other words, when I feel anger, when I feel frustration, what do I have a tendency to do? What's my reaction based off of that emotion that I'm feeling? That would be a level 3 on the awareness scale. Okay? The 4th level of emotional awareness is being able to identify blends of emotion, because often when emotions show up, there has a tendency to be more than one. And then finally, the 5th level of emotional awareness is blends of blends. So this can start to become extremely nuanced as you start to pay more and more, you become aware of your emotions. You can identify the blends. So what I'm going to do is I would like you to do the following. I am going to, where's my phone? There it is. Here's what I'd like you to do. I want each and every one of you to spend just a couple of minutes, and I would like you to give yourself a grade on each one of these and use a 1 to 5 scale. Okay, so each one of these, you're going to look at each one of these levels and you're going to go on a scale of 1 to 5. How good am I at identifying a physical sensation in the body when I have an emotion? Scale of 1 to 5. Do the same thing for, can I name what the emotion is? Scale of 1 to 5. Scale of 1 to 5, and go through each and every one of these. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Hopefully this won't take very long, and just do that. Do every single one of them. And I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. Ready, set, and go. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Boom. And here's what we're going to do. I am going to, well, Scott can still do this because he can still talk and do this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break everybody. I'm going to break us into, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to break us into 2 groups, and I want everybody to share with everybody where you landed in terms of, so again, I just want you to, let's do the math here. We've got a total of 25 that you could score because we have 5 things. We have a total of 5. What are you waving at? John and Erica, what are you doing? Why are you waving your hand?
I was just gonna let you know, I think Scott just pulled in.
Oh, fun. Okay. So, okay. Then he can join, well, he's probably going to have his phone on still. So he can still do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break you up into groups, 2 groups. I want each of you to share where you're at in terms of how many points did you get? And if there's any awarenesses, like I'm really good with this, I'm not so good with this, and then we can do that. Okay. So I am going to, again, we are going to do a breakout room. Each person
Hey, Mike.
What?
Is there a way we can just do like live and not live? It'd be 4 and 4.
Okay, I don't know how to do that. So the only thing I can do, if you want to do it in person, the only thing I can do is do the breakout group. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how else to do it. So I'm just going to do this. So I'm going to create 2 rooms. They're going to assign everybody automatically. So I think what you're asking is, well, do you want to do it? Do you want me to do it manually so that the people that are there can do it? Is that what you're asking? Okay, so hold on.
Yeah.
So let me do that.
Right, because it's gonna get really confusing out here if we're all on different calls.
All right, so hold on. Dad, Erica, John, and Karina. And then room 2 is going to be, why didn't Janice, Joy, Megan, and Rose. Okay, there we go. So everybody's going to get about 2 minutes, discuss what your number is, and then we will come back. All right, so I'm going to come back in about 6 or 7 minutes, okay? All right, here we go. All right, so everybody who's still not in a room, you've got to click that you're accepting it. So John, you got to click accept it. Erica, you got to click accept. Megan, you got to click or not. I don't care. With the people that are here, I don't care if you do, but Megan will need to. So Megan, if you can click accept, you'll go into your room unless you don't want to. And if you don't want to, that's okay too.